The Krizathi Armada hung in the void like a swarm of metallic locusts, their warships stretching across 100,000 kilometers of space. Commander Vexthor gazed at the blue marble before him, through the viewing port of his flagship, the Devourer of Worlds. In his 3 centuries of conquest, he had witnessed the fall of 47 civilizations. This primitive species called humans would be the 48th. They're transmitting again. "Commander," his communications officer hissed, mandibles clicking with amusement. Vexthor's scaled lips curled into what passed for a smile among his kind. "Let them beg. It changes nothing." On Earth's orbital defense platform Sentinel-7, Captain Susan Reeves stood before the holographic display, her jaw set with determination. The station's AI had calculated the odds. 3,000 Krizathi warships against humanity's modest fleet of 200 vessels. The numbers were overwhelming, deliberately so. The Krizathi believed in crushing their enemies with pure force. "They're not responding to our hails." "Captain," Lieutenant Lucas Chen reported from his station, his fingers dancing across the haptic interface. "Broadcasting on all frequencies, but they're ignoring us completely." Susan studied the alien formation, her mind racing through tactical scenarios. Each one ended the same way, with Earth's cities reduced to glass and ash. But she hadn't become the youngest captain in the United Earth Defense Force by accepting defeat. "Open a direct channel," she ordered. "Emergency military frequency. Make sure every ship in their fleet receives it." Lucas nodded, his fingers moving with practiced efficiency. "Channel open, Captain." Susan took a breath and spoke with cold precision. "Krizathi Armada, this is Captain Susan Reeves of the United Earth Defense Force. You have entered our sovereign space without authorization. You are hereby ordered to withdraw beyond the heliopause within the next 6 hours. This is your final warning." On the Devourer of Worlds, the bridge erupted in harsh, barking laughter. Vexthor's second-in-command, a scarred veteran named Cruel, slapped his armored thigh. "A final warning from them. Commander, shall we respond with our weapons now or wait until they finish their comedy routine?" But Vexthor raised a clawed hand for silence. Something in the human female's voice had caught his attention. Not fear, not desperation, but something else entirely. Certainty. "What do our intelligence reports say about their military capabilities?" he demanded. Cruel accessed the data stream. Primitive kinetic weapons, crude energy shields, fission-based power systems. Nothing that can penetrate our hull plating. "Commander, they're barely a Type 1 civilization on the Kardashev scale. We are Type 2. This is like a child threatening a warrior." Vexthor's eyes narrowed. "And yet she gives us a warning." "Not a plea. A warning." Back on Sentinel-7, Lucas pulled up a secondary screen. "Captain, I'm detecting unusual energy signatures throughout their fleet. Their weapons are charging. I'd estimate 15 minutes until they're ready to fire." Susan nodded slowly. "Activate Protocol Omega Black. Authorization, Reeve 7 Alpha Tango." Lucas's hands froze over the controls. He turned to face her, his eyes wide. "Captain, are you certain?" "Once we initiate, I'm certain, Lieutenant. They've made their choice." Lucas swallowed hard and entered the authorization codes. Throughout the solar system, ancient machinery stirred to life. Beneath the surface of Luna, within the ice of Europa, buried in the asteroids of the belt, systems that had been hidden, waiting, began to wake. The Krizathi had done their reconnaissance, as they always did. They had scanned Earth's satellites, probed its defenses, analyzed its technology. But they had made one critical error. They had assumed humans would place their most important assets where they could be easily seen. Humanity had learned differently. 6 hours later, the Krizathi Armada remained. Vexthor had dismissed the human warning as bravado. Now his weapons were fully charged. His targeting computers had locked onto every major population center on Earth, and his finger hovered over the firing command. "Commander," his sensor officer suddenly called out, alarm creeping into his voice. "I'm detecting massive energy spikes throughout the system. Something's emerging from subspace." Vexthor spun toward the tactical display. What he saw made his blood run cold. They appeared like ghosts materializing from nightmare, sleek, enormous constructs that dwarfed even his largest warships. Not hundreds, not thousands, millions. They had been folded into dimensional pockets hidden in subspace, waiting. Each one bristled with weapons technology that made Krizathi armaments look like stone tools, and they were all aimed at his fleet. Susan's voice cut through every communication channel in the system. Krizathi Armada, your 6 hours have expired. You were warned. Humanity does not bluff, and we do not make idle threats. You classified us as barely Type 1, you were mistaken. We allowed you to see only what we wanted you to see. Lucas activated the tactical overlay. All systems are online and targeting solutions locked, Captain. Awaiting your command, Susan continued, her voice like ice. We are a species that has survived ice ages, plagues, world wars, and our own worst impulses. We have clawed our way up from caves to the stars. We have split the atom and bent spacetime itself to our will. And the one lesson we learned from our bloody history is this: hope for peace but prepare for war. On the Devourer of Worlds, Vexthor's crew stood in stunned silence. The sensor readings were impossible. The humans had concealed a military force that rivaled the combined might of 10 galactic empires. How? When? Your intelligence was correct about one thing, Susan said. We are young, but you mistook youth for weakness. Humanity's youth means we remember what it's like to fight for survival. We remember when every day was a battle against extinction, and we never ever forgot those lessons. Vexthor found his voice. This is impossible. No species. You have 30 seconds to begin your withdrawal, Susan interrupted. After that, we will interpret your presence as an act of war, and we will respond accordingly. We gave you a warning. We gave you time. We gave you a chance. That is more mercy than you would have given us. The Krizathi commander looked at his tactical display, at the millions of human warships that had appeared from nowhere, and made the hardest decision of his military career. All ships, he ordered quietly. Begin withdrawal procedures. Maximum speed. As the Krizathi Armada turned and fled into the darkness of space, Susan allowed herself a small smile. Lucas exhaled a breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding. Think they'll be back? He asked. Susan shook her head. They'll spread the word. The galaxy will learn what we've always known. Humanity doesn't start fights, but we finish them. Outside the viewport, the hidden Armada began to fade back into subspace, disappearing as silently as it had appeared. Earth continued its peaceful rotation, its people unaware of how close they'd come to annihilation. And throughout the galaxy, a new message began to spread. Humanity had given a warning, and the wise would heed it.